Hey everybody, welcome back to another Voiceflow tutorial video. Today we're going to be learning about the choice block, which allows our users to make choices within our project. Then we're going to help you understand intents, utterances, and slots, which allow us to capture information from what the user said. We'll show you how to implement these three things using a Voiceflow pizza skill by building two paths, one for placing an order for a pizza and one for canceling an order. When the user places an order, we are going to use intents, utterances, and slots to capture the size and the type of pizza that they want, which we will then be able to read back to them later in the project. And finally, we'll help you leverage the Interaction Model Manager, which works to organize your intents, slots, and variables. We've got a lot to cover here, so this tutorial will be broken up into two videos, Part 1 and Part 2. Alrighty, let's get started. So here we are on a blank Voiceflow project. You can tell I've called it Voiceflow Pizza here. And we have just the home block, which is the starting block on every Voiceflow project. You can see we have the Alexa Open Voiceflow Pizza invocation name. And now what we're going to want to do is drag in a speak block so that we can actually welcome the user to Voiceflow Pizza and ask them how we can help. So let's go over to our step menu on the left, drag out a speak block, line that up, connect the home block to it, and let's say, "Welcome to Voiceflow Pizza. How can we help you today?" Great. So now, this is where we are prompting the user, and we're going to have them make a choice. So we can go to our step menu and pull out the choice block. So I'm going to drag that in right below the speak block. Now the choice block is separated into different paths. So you can see by default, we have path 1 and we have the else path. We can actually go ahead and in the editor menu on the right, we can add new paths that will expand the choice block. You can think of these as all the different branches that the user might choose to go down or the different paths of your conversation. So for example, path 1 could be order pizza and maybe path 2 is cancel order. So let's go ahead and delete our third path here by dragging this down. And we're going to build out these two paths. As we mentioned, one for order pizza and one for cancel order. In the next section, we're going to show you how to use intents. Now, intents are tasks that your assistant can do for you. You can think of them as a collection of phrases the user might say to signify what they want to do. For example, if the user said, "Order me a large mocha coffee," the intent here would be to order coffee. It's important to remember that an intent doesn't relate to the specific words order and coffee, but rather the goal they are aiming for, which is to order a coffee. With this in mind, we can now jump back into our project and head over to path 1. So we'll go ahead and click on this, and you can see we have a list of different default intents. As I mentioned earlier, we can think of an intent as signifying a user's intention. So in this case, the user wants to order pizza, and you'll see by adding a space, we actually automatically add an underscore there. And then we're going to go over and hit create, but before we do, if you're wondering though what all of these other intents are, these are default intents, and these are given to us by the platform. So for example, if you're building for Alexa, you're going to have all of these default intents, and you can see the little Amazon icon there on the right, and you would see the same thing if you were building for Google, with all of the different default intents built for the Google Assistant. Now, the reason these are here, for example, is in the case of yes or no questions, you don't need to rebuild a brand new intent just for yes and no. Alexa has already done that for you. And the same is true for quite a few intents, such as start over, or shuffle, resume, repeat. There are lots of predefined intents in here to choose from, but unfortunately, there isn't an order pizza default intent offered on Alexa. So we're going to go ahead and hit create on our intent. So here we are, and you'll notice that the order pizza intent shows up in our block, and you're going to see that the intent is split into utterances and slots. First, let's tackle utterances so we have a better understanding of how they work. Utterances are specific phrases that a user says when making a request to their voice assistant. You can think of an utterance as a way to determine whether the user is trying to trigger an intent. They are the different phrases a user might say that would clue off Alexa, so it knows what they want. For example, if the user said, "Order me a large mocha coffee," the entire sentence would be the utterance, and the intent triggered here would be order coffee. if we go back to our example project, our intent here is order pizza. And so for our utterances, we would add, I want to order a pizza, order me a pizza, and maybe just order pizza. These three phrases are all signifying to Alexa that, hey, the user wants to order a pizza, this is the order pizza intent, and therefore we should go down path 1. Now you can add many different utterances in here, however, I'm only going to use 3. Now when building your own voice app, you're going to want to add more than 3 utterances to make sure it's a robust experience, where the user can say many different variations of phrases to trigger the same intent. So let's go ahead and build out our second intent now for cancel order. So I'm going to type in cancel order, and you'll see we do have a cancel intent in here. However, I'm going to make it specific to pizza, so I'm going to instead make this the cancel order intent. So I'm going to collapse this first intent here. It makes it a little bit easier visually when we are building out our utterances. And now let's add in a couple of sample utterances of what the user might say if they want to cancel their order. They might say, cancel my order, cancel, or maybe even stop my order. So now we have 3 different utterances in there. I'm going to collapse this, and we can see our 2 different paths built out. So let's go ahead and pull out 2 speak blocks here for each of these different paths to lead to. So if the user orders the pizza correctly, we're going to say, great, I have ordered you a pizza. And then if the user has canceled their order, we're going to say, I have canceled your order. Perfect. Now let's link these up, and you'll see now that if the user says the order pizza intent, they're going to hit path 1, and we're going to say, great, I've ordered you a pizza. And if they trigger the cancel order intent, we're going to hit path 2, where we'll say, I have canceled your order. Now, let's go ahead and color these blocks. I can right-click on the block, and I can color it red. And I'm going to color this one green, and I'm going to call it success. And I'll call this one cancel. Great. So let's go ahead to our prototype tab and see if it works. So if I go up to the top left here and hit prototype, we can go ahead and click start test.
Welcome to Voiceflow Pizza. How can we help you today?
And so we can say something like order pizza.
Great. I have ordered you a pizza.
There we go. And so we can see it went down the proper path and it triggered the order pizza intent, which then brought us to the success block where we said, great, I've ordered you a pizza. Now, let's go over the else path found at the bottom of the choice block. So here we are back on the Voiceflow canvas, and a question you may have been asking yourself is, what happens if the user did not say order pizza or they didn't want to cancel an order? What happens then? Well, this is where the else path comes into play. The else path is activated if none of the available paths have been triggered, or in other words, if none of the intents within your choice block are matched. So in this example, if the user did not trigger order pizza or cancel order, the user will then travel down the else path. This is really useful for narrowing the conversation back into scope. For example, if someone was at your ice cream shop and you only had vanilla and chocolate, and you said, hi, what kind of ice cream would you like today? And the customer said, strawberry. We'd want to say, sorry, we do not have strawberry, but we do have chocolate and vanilla. Which one would you like? And by doing that, we are guiding the user and narrowing the scope of the conversation through good conversation design. So let's go ahead and pull out a speak block. And if the user does not say order a pizza or cancel order, we're going to link to our else path. And we're going to say, sorry, would you like to place an order or cancel an order? And then from there, we're going to bring the user back to make the choice again. And so Alexa will automatically go ahead and start listening again once this message has been played. Let's color this block red as it is an error path. And we're going to call this error. Great. So now let's go ahead and prototype this to see if it works. So if we go to our prototype tab and click Start Test,
Welcome to Voiceflow Pizza. How can we help you today?
and so similar to our ice cream example, let's go ahead and say strawberry.
Sorry, would you like to place an order or cancel an order?
And now we can say order pizza.
Great. I have ordered you a pizza.
Fantastic. We can now see that our else path is working. Now this brings us to the end of part 1 of this tutorial. To recap, we broke down the functionality within the choice block, and then we defined intents and utterances and showed you how they work in Voiceflow. We're excited for you to join us in part 2 of this tutorial, where we dive into slots and the interaction model manager. We'll see you in the next video.